Hello and welcome to another video here at An Unwelcome Truth. Today I want to talk to you about something that I want to introduce you to something. Just think with me for a second here, okay? Let me see how I can say this. Now, we know that the battle between good and evil is being fought on this earth. That is something that we can say. Yes, okay. The second thing we need to understand is that, okay, we know that there are supernatural forces that influence us to either side. Okay. Now, if we take those two bits of information and we mix them or we join them with our understanding that certain people groups or nations or ethnicities have certain weaknesses and strengths. Yes, we can also say that. That's something that we all acknowledge when it suits us, okay? But follow me here. So if we understand that, then we know just by making that math, making those connections, that God is going to recruit the group of people that will best serve him, because he's looking at who has the most ability to, and he has the ability to instill in his people that he chooses the talents or the skills necessary to do the task. Because it's not about, and this is a side topic, but it's not about privilege, because a lot of us will be upset that, well, we're not chosen. Why are these people chosen, and we're not? It's not about privilege. It's about a work that has to be done. Because Satan also has a work that he needs to accomplish. He's got a goal, I should say. So we understand that both sides are trying to do something, and they have to use human beings to do these tasks. God has something that he wants his people to do, and Satan has something that he wants his people to do to keep God's people from doing their job. Okay. And the talents, the skills that you see, and I'll let you think this through what I'm saying to you right now. If you hear me, he that hath an ear, hear what I'm saying. These certain things that these talents, these skills, this influence that you might see in certain people groups, this is because there's a task at hand. And these people need to do this task. It's not about privilege. We're not here on this earth to enjoy anything that we can really get. Now, there's going to be peace. God says he's going to give you peace, but he doesn't say that he's here, that he puts you here, for you to just enjoy this earth. We're here to do work. This is work. Jesus did not come down here, and he's our example, is he not? So he didn't come down here to enjoy this life. He came down here to do some work and then move on to the next phase of his mission. We are to be the exact same way. And that goes for God's people, and it goes for Satan's people who are trying to keep God's people from doing their job. Okay. So we said in the beginning that this battle here is being fought on earth through us. And then people groups are being used to do certain things. We're like pawns on a chessboard, I guess. So if that's true, let me ask you something. Doesn't that make a lot more sense when you focus on that string of logic and you compare it to the way the Bible mentions names, where people are from, whose son was who's this daughter over here named Naama, like Baal? It's trying to tell you who's serving who, so that you can trace history and be your own detective and figure out what your job is and what Satan is trying to do to keep you from doing your job. That's what we're supposed to be focused on as Christians. We're way off. We're off the mark. That's all I can say. We're out there, and the lifeguard is gonna have to send a team out there to get us, and we're out there flailing. That's what's happening, especially in this country, the way things were started here. So now, I didn't really say anything that we don't already know or that we can't already produce if, we're brought to that point in conversation. But the problem is we're not focusing on this. If you start to believe, like, not really believe, but if you start to focus on the fact that we are here to do a job, that's going to help you interpret. It'll help you put the Bible in the right light. Okay. And I'm going to just say that's like, it's not really a clue, but it's like just maybe a reminder for you to see, okay, maybe I need to turn it this way. And listen, let me say this. What's mentioned in the Bible is of equal importance. Everything is of the same amount or level of importance. So if you see this person's name is mentioned here, that's just as important as in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. That's just as important because God has put it in the same book. He does not place importance on one thing over another. In no part of the Bible does it say this part of the Bible is more important than this part. Everything is of the same level of really interest and relevance to us. So as you move forward, think about that. Because what I'm doing is, this is a project that I'm working on. I'm doing a chart. I'm just charting everything out again from Adam all the way down to, and all of these people who were born to these people, and this group of people went over here. And then I'm going to go to the Kings and talk about the, where it talks about the who was over Israel during this time. And then this person came and was over Israel during this time. But then this person, all of that is important because it's not about, I don't know what we think this Bible is supposed to be about, but we have the wrong idea. This is supposed to be about you figuring out, what am I supposed to be doing? Look around at nature and at everything else that God has created. Everything else performs a task. Everything else works. What are we doing as people? What are we doing as Christians? Really though, like really, honestly. And more so for humanity. What are we doing on this? What are we made to do? We don't really know. We're directionless. Everyone has got something else that they're good at. And, and especially in this country, we don't trace our history. So we don't understand, okay, now I'm not just white. I'm Swedish. I'm half Swedish and I'm half German. Or I'm Irish. I'm not just black. I'm this thing. And these are my people. This is my job that God gave me to do. Are you following me? Follow me here. So we have to start looking at the Bible in terms of task more than, like I said, this descriptionless thing that we call Christianity today. Because I'm telling you, and you know it just as well as I do, it's not really working. It's not giving us this thing is supposed to be different. And it's hard to describe because it's like a flavor of something, that you've never tasted before. How can I describe this? No one has tasted this fruit. How do I describe it here, standing in front of you? But it's supposed, just listen to me. It's supposed to be different. It's not supposed to be what it is today. We have taken this Bible here and interpreted it so that we're not as convicted as we should be as we read it. We're not held as accountable, and the clarity of the mirror that we look in is not. It's foggy. It's foggy here. The lines are blurred. I'm telling you, and this is, I'm gonna have to do this over several videos, but we have to really just re-examine everything. And so I would encourage you. This is, I guess, my parting word here. Start from the beginning and re-examine everything for yourself. And like I said here just a second ago, think about it in terms of, what do I do? I know that a bee makes honey. I know that a bird builds a nest. I know that a ladybug is gonna eat aphids and help the farmers. I know that this animal is gonna do this. This thing is. What do I do as a human being in relation to what's said in the Bible? If you can't answer that question, that's the problem. If you cannot put that on a piece of paper, if you have to think about it, that's the problem. So now, I don't want to go off on something else, but we need to start thinking also about accountability and interpretation, because the people who don't want to be accountable have interpreted the Bible in a way that keeps everyone else from being accountable. And if they spread their perspectives, now we're all backwards. Who are those people? Think about that. Anyway, I just, again, this is just to inspire thought and get you kind of thinking about what's happening here. And I suppose I'll see you all in the next video. I have more of these, where we're just talking, and we'll start in Genesis. Like I said in the last video, we'll start in Genesis and we'll go from there, and we'll reposition ourselves so that this, and I'm telling you, once you do that, a lot more is going to make a lot more sense. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope to see you in the next videos.